You won't have to sacrifice your firstborn to drive one. In fact, you can take him along. Sports cars by nature should be an absolute joy to drive. But where is it written that that kind of pleasure has to be a solitary one?
A child was standing on a street corner. He leaned with one shoulder against a high-board fence.
Opium by Yves Saint Laurent, a legendary fragrance for the woman who adores Yves Saint Laurent. John Kurtz, the chief of the Boston Police, breathed in some of his heft for a better fit between the chambermaids. On one side, the Irishwoman who had discovered the body was blubbering and wailing prayers unfamiliar and unintelligible that prickled the hair in Kurtz's ear.
Jägermeister, of course. It's cold and it's German.
We could catch some fish or climb trees, things like that.
Those aren't real games, Coda.
That's just hunting and surviving.
If I can get you to talk more about why you chose voiceover as one of your classes, why pursue that? What was it about your childhood or any kind of hobbies that kind of led you to the voice acting, the voiceover career?
Well, my mother spoke 9 languages. She was Flemish from Belgium, and I was exposed to many languages at an early age. My father was a merchant marine officer, and he sailed as a navigator all over the world, and I would record reel-to-reel tapes of my reciting Shakespeare or speaking in French, reading poetry or scenes from plays. And that's how it started, and that's where the dialect started. And I really enjoyed that because I could make the world come alive just with my vocalization or just with the words versus you don't see anything, but you can feel the emotion of the character in the scene just by the voice. Well, by the time I was 10, I'd already traveled halfway around the world. All my family is in Europe, my mother's family in Belgium and France, and my father's family in Switzerland. So when I went to Switzerland to go to school, I was in a French lycée and I didn't speak any French, so I had to watch television, and I tried to imitate the French. So I would start speaking the English with a French accent, and I thought if I did that, then they would understand me. I did not know that I had to speak the language. Instead, I would say, "Hello, how are you today?" And they are all laughing at me because they said, "Mais qu'est-ce qu'elle fait, you know? What is she doing?" So that is how it started. I was like 9 years old, and it was a big transition for me. And then after that, I went and studied in London at the Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts and worked with a great dialect coach who gave me like operative phrases. So in London, it was completely different. Whether you were upper class or if you're Cockney, you know, you're getting down there, you know, go up there, or Manchester United, oi! And then I went on tour to Scotland, and I loved Edinburgh. And I kind of got a crush on a guy in Edinburgh, and he was from Scotland, and, you know, he wore a kilt, and I sort of fell in love with him, and I wanted to roll my R's and say, "I love you in your kilt." But of course, I sort of had a masculine voice instead of a female voice for my Scots. So that's how that started. And then we went to Ireland on tour. And of course, everywhere we went, I tried to imitate the sounds, but they all thought I was, you know, daft, you know, a little crazy. So that's how the dialect started from all the travels.